County Facilities Committee to order. Is there a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
You have to do, sorry, you have to do a roll call first.
Sorry, go ahead.
On Zoom. Sorry. Legislators Cody.
Here.
Kuhn.
Here.
Bush.
Here.
Irvin.
Here.
Tassone. 4 present, 1 absent.
This is the first Zoom meeting that I've been presiding over. I've just been like sitting in on them. So is there a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes from the last meeting?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, first up, we have 2 appointments to by the county executive to the Onondaga County Public Library Board of Trustees. I don't believe there's anybody here today from the county executive's office to present these. Lenore, you've probably, hopefully had a chance to look over the resumes. Lenore Facchio, I think, is familiar to most of us. She's the head of the Realtors Association, and just has a lot of experience in management and business. And we thank her for her desire to serve us on that board. And the second appointment is Etta Cassis, and Etta has extensive education and experience in early childhood education. I believe she also works very closely with Fannie Villarreal, serving the Hispanic community, working with the Hispanic community and serving underprivileged populations. So do we need to do these one at a time, Jamie?
You can do them, it's just one resolution, so you can do them together, and it'll be a long call, so I'll have to.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the appointment of these 2 candidates?
I will move. Mary Kuhn.
Thank you, Mary. Second?
Linda Irvin, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I have to,
Oh,
sorry.
roll call, I'm sorry.
Legislators Cody.
Yes.
Irvin.
Yes.
Bush. Kuhn.
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
4 ayes, none opposed.
Okay, great. So moving on, we have a resolution, 2 resolutions brought to us by DOT Commissioner Marty Buss. Is Marty with us?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So we have 2 resolutions this morning for additional state funding that we're anticipating receiving. And I say anticipating because just to give you some context here, our work plan that we developed over the winter and we brought over for review prior to bonding. Hang on one second. Hey, you guys write down on call. Thanks. Sorry about that. I thought you only had to do that when you were Zooming from home. In any event, so we got our state CHIPS run in the spring when we developed our work plan. And we anticipate, and we're notified by the state that we're going to receive $5.6 million, give or take, which is in the work plan. Subsequent to that, we received a letter from the State Department of Transportation, which we have not received heretofore, explaining that all state aid runs were subject to an up to, the language they used was an up to 20% reduction. Knowing that, hearing that, we became concerned. And when we got the additional runs for Pave New York and EWR, which we normally bring to you in the fall, we're concerned that we haven't received any notification, any formal notification that that money is necessarily going to be released up to 100%. So we're still operating in consultation with the Division of Management and Budget, and I talked to Steve Morgan yesterday again about this. So instead of adding additional work up to the 100% amount, what we're asking to do is accept the state funding for Pave New York and EWR. We are going to accept 1.281 million in Pave New York and 760,000 in EWR. But rather than add new projects that we would have otherwise done if we get 100%, we're going to add $510,000, which is the amount that we would get total if that 20% up to 20% reduction actually happens. And since we don't know from the state yet, because the state tells us they're waiting on the federal government, it really wouldn't be prudent to give you a list of projects, tell you what we're going to do, and then not be able to do it if the bottom falls out of that in September or October. So what we're asking to do today is accept the two state program funds, and then we will add on additional mileage to existing projects that needed to get done. There's 3 projects we'll make. What we're going to do is make existing projects that have already been approved bigger. So we're going to add to Pompey Center Road, we're going to add to Sweet Road, and we're going to add to Lamson Road. All projects that were already in the work plan we showed you, we're just going to make them longer. So that really is the context that we're operating under right now, is that until we know for sure that we have those funds, we can't really spend them with a straight face, because the bottom could fall out of this.
Absolutely.
But we're sure of the 80%. So we're not going to go above that. We'll cut it off there. Whatever if we are fortunately able to keep that 100% or 95% or 90%, we will carry that money over to 21, and that will be a head start on the 21 work plan, when hopefully the world has changed and we're able to get back to some semblance of normal. So the first resolution before you is for, do you have any questions about that before I go ahead with the resolutions?
Yeah, anybody?
Yeah, are these 3 the most critical projects to do right now, Marty?
Yes, there are 3 they are the first 3 that we would have done anyway with additional funds.
Okay.
So and also for purposes of working with our vendors, we're able to add these on without causing a total upheaval in the schedule either. Normally if we had gotten this money and we knew we were getting it, we would have had a whole listing of things we were going to do around the county. But because of the 2020, we're kind of under the gun here. So we're trying to be as responsible as we can, but also cautious that, we really don't have a good idea of what the state's going to do. And the answers we get are, well, we want to see what the feds are going to do. Well, if I have to hold my breath for that, the only decision we can make that's responsible to manage this is to only spend what you have.
Okay, that's fine.
Marty, I have quick questions. This is Mary Kuhn.
Hi, Mary.
The numbers that you put forth, that's not 80% though, is it?
No, that's 100% if we get those full amounts.
What you did, the 1.86, 0.76, and 0.5? Or maybe I missed something.
The 1.281499 on the first resolution
Right.
is what 100% of our Pave New York allocation would be.
Oh, I see.
760, 781 is what EWR would be.
Got it.
If you take those 2 numbers and add them to our existing CHIPS allocation from the state,
Yeah.
you get 7,656,490. You cut that to 80%, that's
Got it.
6,125,192. We've already got 5.614 that you folks have already approved as part of the work plan and accepted. So the delta there is about 510,000 that we can actually comfortably spend this year, that we know we're going to get and we're going to be able to close out. So that's all we're saying we're going to spend right now on those 3 additional roads that we're going to do.
That makes
And
sense.
God willing, we'll be able to recover the balance in the 21 year, and we'll have a very hearty, hefty paving program next year. God willing.
I was
things
going to
change.
say, God willing, right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yeah, that's unfortunately, there's a lot of question marks hanging over a lot of things right now. So this is the prudent way to go, obviously, until we know more. So thank you. Looks good.
Deb,
Yeah.
I have a question for the commissioner.
Sure.
Are you cutting back any programs that you had initially scheduled?
No,
Okay,
everything that's in the work plan that you saw in April is getting done this year.
okay. All right, good.
Great, thank you. Okay, if there's no other questions, is there a motion to approve 2A for the New
I'll
York
move
State
it.
program? Thank you.
Mary Kuhn, second.
Second, thank you. All in favor?
Get a
Aye.
roll call.
Oh,
Do we need a long call on these, Jamie?
Yes, I was about to say legislators Cody,
Sorry. Yes.
Irvin,
yes.
Bush,
Yes,
Hume,
Yes.
4 ayes and none opposed.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion to move 2B for the extreme winter recovery funding and the CHIPS funding?
Mary Kuhn, move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll
I'll
second it.
sec-
Thanks, Linda. Okay,
Legislators Cody,
yes.
Irvin,
Yes.
Bush,
yes.
Hume,
Yes.
4 ayes, none opposed.
Thank
Great.
you, folks.
Thank you, Marty. We're hoping for you to give us a little bit of an update on what you guys have been doing over the last few months. Especially, I know you folks your people were involved extensively in the COVID efforts of the county, the COVID relief. And so hoping to give us just a little brief update on what you guys were doing during that time.
So on a positive note, I got to know Dan Weirs very, very well and enjoyed spending a lot of time with Dan in the months of March, April, May, June, and into July a little bit. They have really good coffee at the EOC. I can tell you that.
Great.
Very strong. So we had to adapt and react to the world changing around us. And the timing of this was good in the sense that, you know, March is typically when the weather starts to get a little better anyway for us. And we're not as 24/7 with plowing because the storms are a little fewer and far between. But there were a couple of snowstorms during the first month of COVID in this community. So we had to adapt and change sort of our business model to meet the needs of the county at a bigger scale and on a you know, as part of a team to address and respond to what was going on in the world. You know, I was down with Dan for the better part of 3 months, kind of directing and controlling our staff that were doing everything from our normal plow operations, which we had to do first. That was our number one priority, to helping set up the Syracuse Community Health Center mobile testing site, getting the vehicles prepared that were being used to move and manage different things for human services, the health department, different initiatives, picking up PPE from SU, Lemoyne, and others that were donating things with because we have a lot of trucks and vehicles and people that can drive them. So we were doing things like that, everything from you know, fueling up refrigerated trucks that were distributing meals to people at the rescue mission and at the Peace Incorporated site on the north side, to delivering meals on the weekends. Myself and others were doing that. I know, Deb, you were there with us a couple times. I know Legislator Knapp came down to the EOC and was participating in that as well. So, you know, at one point I was dropping diapers off at apartment buildings on the south side of the city. So we kind of had to adapt and help and do different things that are maybe non-traditional for DOT, but that was all part of the broader effort to respond to what was going on in the community. And, you know, I'm really proud of our people for the work they did and for the things they did to step up. You know, we are a little behind the 8 ball in terms of getting caught up again for the fall and getting caught up for our paving program. I pushed very hard, and Mary Beth Primo was very helpful in getting attention on the fact that we needed to get the work plan done so we could actually get work out to our contractors too. You know, we were able to get the work plan through, and I owe a lot to Mary Beth for helping me with that. and getting the attention on that, because it's hard to get attention sometimes when everything else is falling apart around you. But we were able to do that. We were able to get work out to the vendors. And then what that means is we've then got to get the roads prepped too. So it's been a little bit of ballet to do both. But I'm really proud of the way our staff has responded and the way our crew leaders have handled the variety of stuff we've thrown at them over the last 6 months. And it's not over. There are more things happening. You know, we're already working with emergency management on what role we're going to play in moving those mobile testing trailers from school district to school district, and other things that are going to have to happen this fall as the community gets going again. So it's been a long year. Really ready for 2020 to be over. You know, I had a conversation with one of our engineers yesterday who watches these types of things, and apparently the water in the Great Lakes is the warmest temperature that's ever been recorded in the history of recording temperatures of the Great Lakes. So what that means to me is we're going to have a very heavy lake effect winter, which is going to make things more fun. So, but we adapt, we change, we react to it. You know, we've been very proactive about PPE and protocols that we could put in place to keep our employees safe. You know, we worked with emergency management and the health department on, you know, this was all new to everybody. You know, we don't normally have snowplow drivers wearing face coverings and gloves everywhere and checking their temperatures and, you know, sanitizing their hands all the time. They're not the types of folks that normally wash their hands during the course of the day anyway. So getting them to sanitize 3 or 4 times a day was a challenge, but we've met it. So we're doing what we can.
Yeah, great job. Thank you. I mean, there were things I ran into some of your folks down at, you know, different places and down at the warehouse and all that. And I knew, you know, that they were helping out every day with the meal delivery and all those things. There was a lot of things I didn't also know that you guys were doing. So it was truly, you know, an effort, everybody kind of pitching in from all over the county. And, you know, I think everybody did a great job. And thank you to you and your entire staff.
Thanks,
Any questions for Marty?
I would just like it noted that I did bring Half Moon cookies down to the EOC for the people down there, just for the record.
Chairman Knapp and I do share a love of baked goods, and it was much appreciated.
So Dave, is that why all the projects this morning were in your district? Is that why?
There you go.
I will confirm nor deny that.
Actually, this was probably news to him that these were happening today. So
yeah,
I would like to add too, if I could, you know, for what it's worth, folks, the EOC that we have in the basement of the Civic Center is an absolutely invaluable resource, and it really showed during this pandemic how important it is to have a resource like that where you can bring all the departments together, bring the department heads together who can actually make things happen and get things accomplished quickly, and, you know, kind of taking direction from the chief executive directly to the EOC, where all the deciders and implementers were in the room at the same time. It was really you know, I've been to a bunch of exercises over the past few years, but seeing that in action was really something to see during this crisis. So there's a real value to Dan and his staff and what they do down there.
Great. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Marty.
All right. Thank you, folks.
See ya.
Thank you.
Okay. Up next, we have Brian Kelly from Parks, and kind of same question to Brian, a little bit of an update on what's been going on over there and what they've been doing over the past few months during to help out with the COVID relief effort and how that's affected them and their projects. So, Brian?
Sure. Hi, everyone. How you doing today?
Hey, good to see you.
Good. You know, we've actually been busier, you know, than ever right now at this point. Regardless of our programs and our events not happening because of COVID restrictions, the parks have been extremely busy in terms of passive use. Lots of folks on our trails, lots of folks using our boat launches. We do have Oneida Shores open. That beach has been open. Marina's open. So folks are using us more than ever, and it's been a really nice opportunity for the Parks Department to shine. We have the opportunity to show that quality of life is more important now than ever, and because we're one of the only things open in town, we've certainly seen increased use, and I think folks are using us to, you know, get a breath of fresh air, get a mental type of relaxation thing going on. And we've seen numbers increased. You know, when this first started, because of a lot of the COVID stuff, we really had to essentially shut a lot of things down and then reopen them. You know, we limited parking in certain areas and things like that. But as things got better, things opened up, and we've really seen a wave of people using our parks. So we've been lucky. We've been lucky that we've been able to stay open and provide such valuable services to the community. Again, you know, restrooms are open in parks and things like that. So we've slowly been able to get things open and progress down the line. And we're really seeing a lot of people taking advantage of the situation. In terms of the COVID effort, you know, the countywide, lots of folks have been involved. And as Marty kind of indicated before, and what he was saying, we've helped a lot in terms of sending folks out to, you know, deliver food, help out in those types of scenarios. We had somebody out every single day, sometimes 2 carloads of people delivering food around. So we've been working with, you know, the county executive's office on that and the health department a little bit. So yeah, we've been involved with that, and we've certainly been involved in providing services to the public. So things are happening at the parks right now.
Good, great. Yeah, I ran into some of your folks when I was down at the rescue mission too, picking up food and all that. So thank you to all your people for putting out, helping with that effort as well. Are there any questions for Brian? It's certainly true. I started going to the park, obviously, when we were kind of all, you know, ordered home, and back in the end of March into April, I started going out to some of the parks and to get fresh air and everything. And it was great, since everything, you know, we weren't supposed to be limiting our trips to the store and all that. It was nice to see people outside getting that fresh air. And it was, you know, it's kind of fun to see people, but in a safe way, where everybody was, you know, separated out and walking and getting some exercise. So
Yeah, and it's to your point. There's you know, a park like Pratt's Falls, I use an example. I mean, we've had to close that park down, the parking lot down, parking wise, you know, on several occasions, and we've never had to do that before at that park. So a park like that, you know, filling its parking capacity tells me that folks need us more than ever.
Yeah, I was down there one day. It was pretty full, actually, and you know, but obviously folks are spread out. But yeah, it's kind of maybe giving people some new appreciation for our parks and going out to the places they haven't been before. So you know, it's always a good thing. So
Sure.
anybody else?
There
Questions?
are a lot of people who don't know anything about our park system, and they are now, because they have no place else to go, they're venturing out. So Pratt's Falls is a really popular one. A friend of mine said she'd never been there before. She's been here like 30 years, never been there before. So she went this year and couldn't believe how beautiful it is. So yeah, it's a good time to visit all the parks. It's a great time.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job, Brian.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Pratt's is a beautiful location, beautiful waterfall, lots of groomed and manicured trails. So it is a sweet location.
And it just happens to be in the 12th district, so it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is the first time I've ever been to the parks. 2 or 3 times we went to not Pratt's Falls and other places that the lot was closed. And a lot of people have told me they've never known the county park system. Everybody goes to Green Lakes, the state park. So yeah, no, nice job, Brian.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Also, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, up at the, we've got Archie on the line. I'll give him a shout out too. Both Brian and Archie worked really, really well collaboratively up at the Veterans Cemetery for the new little chapel that they put together there, and the meeting room for the families and stuff. Really, really came out very, very nicely, professionally, and just wanted to give a shout out both to Brian and I know Archie's team worked on that a lot too. So just wanted to thank you for your efforts up there. It looks really, really good.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that.
We had a meeting before the meeting that we're going to go take a field trip to see that at some point, because Brian said it looks really good. So we all want to see it. So Deb's going to set up a field trip to see that.
Do that.
Yep. Let me know whenever you want. Let me know. I'm happy to take y'all out.
Okay, great.
Hey, Deb.
Brian, will that include the Carpenter's Brook Fish Hatchery, the Jordan Level Park?
Whatever you would like to see, Mr. Bush, whatever you would like to see.
How about the smallest park there at Tisco Lake? Are you working on the parking there?
Actually, yep. Actually, we've done some things in the parking lot there. We've had, we did some nice things with the fencing out there too that kind of gave us a little bit more room. We used to have that split rail fence up there, and we've kind of used big boulders as barriers now. So it's certainly opened up the parking a little bit there. And it's funny you mentioned Atisco, Ken. We've seen a huge increase there as well. Folks fishing with their kids and just kind of having picnics in the park. So Atisco gets used, and it really is a beautiful little spot.
Because parking had become an issue.
Small.
there.
It was small. Yep.
Yeah. So, but I do feel your pain when it comes time for budget, because
Yeah.
it's going to be really tough for you.
Yeah, it is. And we're working through it. We've got our numbers, and we're working through it, and fingers are crossed that we'll be able to do what we've always been able to do.
Mhm. But it's the one part of county government that just is so beneficial to our residents and the constituents, and so we'll try to do the best we can at our end. But it's going to be a tough budget season. So
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah, this year more than ever.
Now,
Well, it sounds like we'll need a bus tour meeting. We can stop at a few places.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys. Take care. Have a good day.
Take care.
thank you, Brian.
And from facilities, we have Archie here to give us an update on what's been happening over there the last few months.
Good morning, folks. How are you today?
Good to see you.
Good. Well, I mean, as you've just heard, while Marty and Brian's teams have been goofing off, facilities have been pretty busy.
Hey, I haven't logged out yet. See you guys.
So, would you like to hear what we've been doing, operational, project, or let's say COVID? related?
Both, please. We want to know everything. It's been a few months since we've seen everybody, so we're anxious to hear what's been up with everyone
So
on all fronts.
as some of my partner physical services, facilities has been right there, right from day one, helping setting up the testing sites. We've delivered supplies and groceries. We've transported supplies and stockpile materials. I've personally helped the city organize their sanitizing efforts. We've set up the sanitizing services for the testing sites and the Syracuse Community Health Center. And we've just been there for every little incidental that comes up day to day. You'd be very surprised how often that happened between all of the physical services where we were called upon, to provide some unexpected resources to the human services that were, dealing with the public at the time. One of the things that I think is very important is to recognize are kind of my unsung heroes, which are my custodial and maintenance staff, which really get, they get almost no recognition. But I'm proud to state, since COVID began and up till we're speaking right now, there has been zero workplace spread. We have kept these buildings, my team has kept these buildings sanitized, clean, and I'd like to say that directly related to not one incident of workplace spread. And that's been great for our workforce and our public. And some of the things that we've done, in addition to just the custodial and the maintenance staff, pulling extra duty and just putting their 110% in every day, was our steam plant has, they have coordinated the installation of ultraviolet light disinfecting systems in all of our buildings. We have it in our air handlers, so we had already had the Civic Center complete prior to the COVID, so we were lucky there. But once this pandemic started, we replaced all the lamps in them a year earlier than we would normally have had to. So everything, we started fresh, and then we continued with those efforts, and we have ultraviolet light disinfecting systems in all of the 19 buildings I'm directly responsible for. We have yet to complete the War Memorial and the Convention Center, although they've been started. We put those on the back burner because, they're not being used by the public right now, and they're pretty stagnant in use. So we put those at last, and we're beginning those now. We've done some operational things, like we've made sure that we've increased all the fan speeds in our HVAC systems, to get a better air turnover. We have always maintained the mixture of air with a higher percentage of the outside fresh air. We've changed all of our filters to MERV 14s as recommended by experts in a Cornell report. We've locked down the perimeter doors of the Civic Center and only allowed two points of entry, one for staff and one for public, so we keep those folks separate. The only public that's using the elevators are those with a mobility impairment. The county office building has been limited to employee entry only. The public entry has to be through the Civic Center. Most of the, let's say the probation outreach, they've done a good job where they've gone out of the building to do their, observations and their meetings with their probationees. We had DSS has combined the public services to only the second floor of the Civic Center, and any unique circumstances are by appointment. Our custodial staff have supplemented their efforts by continuing touch surface cleanings and disinfectants. Our maintenance staff have picked up some of the custodial tasks because we haven't been able to supplement our workforce. We've been on hold with personnel right now. Our carpenters have been creating plexiglass barriers at all the public approach areas, and we've worked with the various departments to determine the best locations for those applications. We've placed additional independent air purifying units wherever there is a need for a group gathering, such as in the Emergency Operations Center, like Marty was mentioning, how well that functioned. We've distributed extra and spare disinfectants and paper towels to all the departments for their individual use. We've installed additional hand sanitizer stations in the various building areas. We have a contractor performing electrostatic disinfectant aerations weekly in every building, which is, in simple terms, it's a disinfectant fogging that we do after the workforce has left the area. We've ordered independent air purifiers for the elevator cabs, and I expect them to be delivered in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll install those right away between us and our service contractor, Otis. So that will purify the air in the elevator cabs so that we don't have that, we don't have such a risk of the close contact within an elevator cab. Even though we reduce the elevators down to just 3 people, it's hard to keep that separation in an elevator cab, and this will disinfect the air in there for the entire day, 24/7. We've ordered nanoseptic touch point skins, which for the building touch surfaces. They're a new, unique technology, and they're a light activated nanotechnology that oxidizes the surface skin of this applique that we put on the common touch surfaces, and in the oxidation process, it doesn't allow pathogens to maintain to be live on the surface. So we're trying them, and our night custodial has really focused on the off-hours cleaning efforts of the touch surfaces, and specifically restroom disinfecting. We've got some special machinery and equipment that we sanitize those with every night, and that's what we've done for the COVID. And I think I like to say I'm proud of the team that's done that, especially short-staffed, especially without the supplement of our part-timers that we've been used to. I tell you, they're all getting worn out. I mean, they're getting overworked right now. As far as our projects, this year we finished up the Crime Analysis Center in the Public Safety Building, which is a cooperative venture of the local law enforcement groups between the sheriffs, the Syracuse City Police, district attorney, the state police. It's a crime analysis center where they utilize special media technologies and do everything from, well, it's crime analysis, so it's forecasting, it's intervention, it's planning, and we did that. We've done some repairs at the steam plant, although we've backed off on some of the large expenditures that you folks have previously authorized, primarily because our fiscal office is trying to reduce all of our cash output and debt service. The Hillbrook Detention Center Raise the Age project is at about 40% complete right now. That would be a very interesting project for you folks to take a peek at. It's taken a lot of study, a lot of planning, a lot of design, and we've got a good team of contractors up there, and they're about 40% into the build out of it. And as we all know, that's a very difficult facility, both for the operations end and the maintenance end. Our animal health clinic up at the zoo is about to start possibly as early as next week for some contractor mobilizations. And again, that's a brand new building up at the Rosemont Zoo, of which the Parks does a great job managing and operating. And this will give them a truly technologically current animal medical treatment facility. Again, you heard about the Veterans Memorial Chapel up at the cemetery. That came out very well, and we hope that they'll be able to begin operating that pretty soon. At the amphitheater, as you know, we've done some improvements even this year with a brand new viewing deck out there. It's on the west side of the pavilion. We're about to start the second one, which is a smaller, lower deck down by the VIP entrance. And what's nice about both of these is neither of these were paid by the taxpayer. Both of these were paid by, part of the lease agreement for capital investment with Live Nation and SMG. So one is done, one is starting, and the first one came out very well. We're beginning trail lights. The last section of the trail, of the Loop the Lake Trail in between the amphitheater and the visitor center, the Honeywell Visitor Center. We're doing the last lighted portion of that trail, and that was a grant-based funded project. So that was again, that was very, very good that we were able to utilize some grant money. And that'll be the last lighted section. So we'll have a nice experience for all the trail goers, concert goers, the folks coming, walking in and out from the boat launch. It's going to be very, very good. And of course, our largest project is we're just about to start phase 2 of the NBT Stadium project. So we're, wrapped up phase 1, which included new stadium lighting. Beautiful too. If you ever want a chance to view that, I'll have them, you have to go over there one of these evenings because it has to be dark for you. And I'll have them run through the lighting program, and it's, those lights are amazing now. They're as good as any major league stadium. And that was done by, our local company, Ephesus. So they're, that's good to see that was able to stay local. We moved in the home run fence to make it more consistent with Citi Field. It's got brand new padding on it. We've painted all the structural steel at the stadium and branded it with the Mets coloration, with the orange and blue. We replaced the seating at the stadium. The last portion of the seating that we're doing now is some terracing of the concrete for couple of premium seating areas. And that will be like a cafe corporate style seating with some special management. But the primary stadium seating has been all removed and replaced. And we're about to start the larger scale project, which includes the tavern in behind left field fence, the corporate party deck, right field, enlarging batter sign, scoreboard, complete renovation of the Hank Sauer room, and about doubling the size of it, some concessions improvements, and a field restoration. So we're going to replace the field surface out there. So it's a lot of work to be done, and it will be ready. I guarantee it'll be ready by April 1st of next season.
That sounds like another field trip.
I was just going to say that. Now we have an evening field trip.
Yes, you do.
All right. So, I mean, it's probably a dumb question, but like, so that's the fact that there's nobody there, that, you know, unfortunately there's no season there, that's accelerated, I assume, the what's been going on over there. Is that right?
To a small degree, yes. But what our planning was, and part of the design development planning, because we've actually planned 2 projects here. So we planned the phase 1 project and all the design, you know, all the architecture and engineering leading up into the bidding of phase 1, which was supposed to be, you know, for this season, right? So there was spectators and the players were supposed to be able to enjoy that this season, but of course they were not able to. And then as phase 2, you know, the design development plus the bidding process plus the contracting process was never going to present the opportunity for construction until about September. So our whole planning of the development of it was not going to be until September.
Okay.
We've been able to shorten that duration and get the bids out in, you know, a more timely fashion, and we're right now just about to finalize the execution of the contracts, where we'll be able to have the contractors realize, you know, most of August and most of September where they wouldn't have had that available to them now, but it probably only translates into about an additional month of seasonal opportunity to perform the work. So we'll definitely take advantage of it, and the contractor certainly will, but it's, you know, just because it was never that plan, we weren't able to realize the entire, you know, summer season.
Right. Such a shame that we can't be over there. Wow, you guys have been busy. I didn't even think about all of those, like lighting and sanitation and air ventilation projects and all of that. So that was good to hear.
That's why we are the greatest physical service department. You
know, it just shows.
It's clear. It shows.
Team effort all of our departments, you know, have made through this. Just been incredible. And, you know, we thank you and all of your folks as well. Questions for Archie?
I just have a quick question. Can you tell me the Criminal Analysis Center, where is that, Archie?
The Crime Analysis Center is in the Public Safety Building.
It's in the PSB. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
I think the project is done, and I think they're just putting the last of their purchased furniture in there.
Okay. Thanks for all you've done.
But I have to tell you, I mean, it's like Marty and like Brian said, it's really been great working with the rest of the team. They've all come together. And yes, emergency management really came together. This is, I mean, I think this is the first real test of how well that operation works. And of course, you know, Marty with DOT, they're always there at the ready. And, you know, those folks had to come together with all kinds of different types of assignments that they're not used to, and parks as well. You know, I think everybody really came together, and I think that's really the story we want to, you know, we want you folks to understand.
Hey, Deb, could I speak for a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to say something because I wanted to talk when Brian was here, but actually this is probably a more appropriate time. I couldn't be more happy, more pleased, more proud of the commissioners and directors that I work with on a day-to-day basis. No one could have done a better job. Archie was here day and night, weekends. I mean, think about, not only did we carry on with all the projects we had to carry on with, and we needed to carry on with, but he, you know, I mean, Archie does like to talk, so he gave you a little bit more detail than Brian, but neither Brian, Archie, or or Marty could really do justice to what they did, because you'd have to be here like all day and all night. The calls, the constant calls, the complaints about how, or the questions, you know, either this wasn't cleaned enough or this, and all of these really were addressed very, very well. A lot of the complaints were people didn't really understand what we were doing. A lot of the requests we had already actually, you know, dealt with, or we were like on it immediately. But these guys worked so hard. They're so smart. They're so responsible. And I mean, it was amazing to see what they did, and to see how, I mean, Archie was supposed to go on vacation in March, and that was going to be what, Archie, your first vacation you've taken in years, and COVID struck and he couldn't go. So, I mean, and he hasn't stopped at all, you know, not once. But think about this too. So all this is going on. We have our projects, we have COVID, and then we get the protests. And so then Archie has just been like, what, 2 or 3 full weekends down here because the police want this, the mayor needs this, the county executive. I mean, it was just one thing layered on top of another. And I'm just so appreciative that I have such professional people to work with. And I hope all of you, and I think you do, appreciate what good work they all do. I mean, Brian was early, you know, new to this. I mean, he didn't miss a beat. Marty's solid. I mean, he looks solid, and really he does a solid job. But so I want to thank, and I wish that those guys were still on, because I just want to thank you, Arch. And I know I've thanked you before, but
I think it's because of our leader.
Ryan, yes.
No, our immediate leader. I think, you know.
Oh, thank you.
First, yeah.
Well, all of you. I mean, I think that's a, you know, a good conclusion here from this meeting that, you know, I mean, we know, obviously we're watching the briefings every day. We're seeing it coming down, you know, from Ryan. I know all the folks at the county exec's office were working without days off for, you know, for a long, long time. And then all of you guys, and it's good to hear, you know, more details on what everybody was doing and how everybody came together and work together, maybe with some people that you never had an opportunity to work before. So that was probably, you know, a cool experience when everybody comes together in a crisis to work together. So I've been, you know, very, you know, very proud of all of you at the county and how you've handled this whole thing. But it's good to have the opportunity to hear it firsthand and to express that to you guys. So thank you. Any other questions for Archie? Thank you, Archie. We'll let you know about that field trip.
By all means. It's very nice to see you guys again.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other business? Comments? Okay, if there's nothing else.
Deb,
Yes.
one, just quick, I really appreciate the fact you put this together to get some of these commissioners and department heads coming to our meeting when they might not have official resolutions to be voted on, but it's crucial that we understand what's going on in the county, in these departments that we're supposed to be involved with. So again, thanks I hope we'll do this again and do it more periodically than has been happening in the past. So.
Yeah,
Very-
absolutely. Yep. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we've been wanting to get this together because I know I've been hearing anecdotally how, you know, some of the things that these folks have been doing, and I was really anxious to get more details here from everybody on it. And we have a field trip or two to look forward to, so that's fun. We'll try to get something set up soon. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Deb.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jamie.
But
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I